escucha bien, Megan?
Khan, sir.
Esto va a ser, yo voy a ser hoy bilingüe, ¿ok? Porque voy a enseñar en español e inglés también, ¿ok? So, vamos a meter mano. Toda la escritura que yo que vamos a leer en español, está en inglés, se va a leer en español también. So you understand what I said. We're going to do this in the bilingual tip today, right? So everything we're going to do in English, we're going to do in Spanish, okay? Because, as you know, Latin America, we pushing hard on Latin. Focus, okay? All right, so let's get it going. Give me Esther chapter 7, and we'll start at verse 1. Matter of fact, let's do a recap. Get me back to the part, go back to the part in chapter 6, start at where Haman, right? Go back to the part when Esther invited, what's his name, the king and Haman, or Haman, however you want to call him, right? Start from there when they both got invited to the banquet, but I want to start from the part when she invited them to the second banquet and how he went home and XYZ. Lo que vamos a empezar en el capítulo 6 primero para retocar o revisitar cuando, ¿cómo se llama este? Ok. Shalom, Yahashimata Basham Yahushai, a la hermana Dalia y a la hermana Adriana. Dalia está en la Florida y Adriana está en la República Dominicana. Y Adriana, yo espero que su marido esté hoy, si Dios permite. We got a sister out in the middle. She's coming strong. She's already at that time. Right. Then we got another sister out in Florida. She's been coming strong too. You know what I'm saying? All right, but we need men, to take over Puerto Rico. We got one strong soldier, Magana Moth, in Puerto Rico, and we need more brothers like that. That speak both English and Spanish, or Spanish. I don't care. The whole thing is we got to conquer Puerto Rico, and we're going to do it. All right? So,
sir.
Mete mano, dale.
Yeah. Shalom, Yahweh, Shema, Ataba, Hashem, Washai. Para la hermana Dalia. Y Shalom, Yahweh, Shema, Ataba, Hashem, Washai. Para la hermana Adriana. Saludos, bienvenida.
They saluting the sisters. He's saluting the sisters as well. Okay, so this is what we're going to do, right? Let's get chapters. You got the part where I want. Where we going at? I want the part from after she invited them to the second banquet. Right. I mean, there was the first banquet, and then she made it. Yeah, and Esther. Then she made a second petition to have another banquet. And at this time, Haman went home to his wife and his the people that were down with him. And he was all in his brain, all happy, this and that, because of the banquet. Let me hear that first. Let me hear what you got.
Esther chapter 5, verse 4.
I said chapter 6. Chapter 6. You got it?
Esther chapter 6, verse 4.
Yeah.
The book of Esther chapter 6, verse 4. And the king said, who is in the court? Now Haman was coming to the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai.
No, I wanted where Esther invited. I think it's in 5. Is it in 5? Hold on, let me see. You might have been
verse 4, chapter 5.
Let's start at 4, 5, and 3. Tú vale. Magán, tú vas a leer empezando de Esther 5 y 3, ¿ok?
Khan.
Pero primero aguanta, vamos a leerlo en inglés primero. Go ahead. Whoever got it, let's go. Chapter 5, verse 3. Whoever got it, let's go.
Esther chapter 5, verse 3. Then said the king unto her, what wilt thou, Queen Esther? And what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
So the backdrop is what happened. That Mordecai already told Esther, right? The plan of what was going to happen to all the Israelites. Go ahead. in the Persian kingdom, right? Now, when I say Persian kingdom, where's this at? Where's this at? The Persian kingdom.
Go ahead.
What do you call it today?
Iran.
Iran, right? And not just Iran, but it's Iran, of course, no doubt. But you got to go to East India, right?
East India.
Right? And those countries where you see all them Elam, man, Pakistan, right? Afghanistan, right? Am I correct? All those descendants of Elam over there. That's the Persian Meat Empire, right? Okay, so what you want to say something? All right. So everybody understand, ¿verdad? So tú entendiste la pregunta, Magan.
Claro.
Okay. So dilo en español para la audiencia en español. ¿Dónde queda Persia?
O Persia queda donde es ahora Irán, Irak, India,
No,
Pakistán.
No Irak.
Irán.
Pero Irán, la India, Pakistán, Afganistán, ¿ok? Irak no es parte de eso, porque Irak en sí es la parte de la tierra prometida. He said Iraq, but just to clarify, right? Iraq is not part of that. Iraq really belongs to who?
That is that's ancient Babylon.
But originally, who were the owners of that land?
We were.
Right. So it's what would you? Right. You would call it the land of Israel. The reason why it fell into Babylonian hands and then to what is now Iraq is because we sinned against the Lord. Right. During the days of Adam, kicked us out. Boom, boom, boom. That was the end of it. We'll get it back though. This is what we're here for, to get it back.
Right.
All right. So continue.
Verse 4.
Also, too, Salaki, you can have some of that if you need. That's why they're there.
Oh, water.
Right. There's some bags there. That's for everybody too. You want some potatoes and you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, produce, whatever. Anybody will take. All right. So Salaki, continue.
Verse 4. And Esther answered, if it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for them. For him.
Okay, ahora rápido, Magan, léete 5:3 y 5:4.
Can, el capítulo 5, versículo 3. Dijo el rey, ¿qué tienes, reina Esther? ¿Y cuál es tu petición? Hasta la mitad del reino se te dará. Versículo 4. Y Esther le dijo, si place al rey, venga hoy el rey y Amán al banquete que he preparado para el rey.
Okay, so we see the backdrop here, right? Mordecai told Esther, lo que le dijo a Esther, ¿verdad? Los planes que iba a suceder con Israel, en que las naciones alrededor iba a destruir a Israel, right? So the plan, Mordecai told Esther about the plot to kill all the Israelites by these heathens in all the provinces of the Persian Media Empire. Everybody understand, right? So after 3 days of fasting, Esther then stepped to the king. Now, she was not supposed to go to court, right? Because normally, what would have happened? She could have been put to death. Normalmente, ella no podía ir por el ¿cómo se llama? El corte, ¿verdad? Del rey. Porque por la ley de ellos, cualquiera que pasara sin que el rey diera permiso, se encontraban con la penalidad de muerte, okay, normalmente. But she fasted, prayed to the Lord, and that day she did not die. Right? Pero ella oró al Señor, ayunó, y ese día no murió. Okay? Secondly, that day the Lord was with her. That's clear. El Señor estaba con ella, eso es claro. Okay? Now, considering this part here, we did this time in this lifetime have an Israelite, a daughter of Israel, in a high position. I don't want to say high ranking, but she was first lady, right?
Right.
And what events happened during this time while she was first lady? Everybody remembers. Go ahead. No, we're talking about in the modern era. I'm making a comparison. Well, I'm gonna just give you the name, Michelle Obama, right? She was first lady, right? During the presidency of Barack Obama, how many years was that? 8 years. Within 8 years, what happened to Israelites during those 8 years?
Continued destruction, sir.
Give me an example, because we've been continually dying for the last 500 plus years. So give me specific, because we're talking modern era. Go ahead.
Homosexuality shot up.
Okay, what else? What you got, Shafat? Morgan, ¿qué tú tienes? ¿Qué sucedió mientras Michelle Obama era primer dama, ¿verdad? Y Barack Obama presidente por 8 años? ¿Qué sucedió a Israel en este momento del tiempo?
Slakia, primeramente, Obama ha sido el presidente que más ha deportado a los hispanos.
Déjame trasladar eso. This is what I should be hearing too, what he said. Obama was the president that deported more Israelites than any other president. Right? Sigue. ¿Qué más?
Y también fue lo que los introdujo a la comunidad LGBT.
Right, aguanta. So he said that he was the one that allowed or introduced the whole community of the LGBT. And now in 2022, it's like LGBT, XYZ, X-ray, whatever the hell, you know. But that's what we're dealing with now. But besides all that, what else happened to Israel?
They continue to be killed by the police.
Right, give me some names. That's what I was looking for. Give me some names.
George Floyd.
That was during Trump. Right. Who else?
Freddie Gray.
What else? Who else?
Mike Brown.
Who else?
Orlando Cat. No, Salam.
Yeah, you're right.
That was Obama.
Yeah, that was Obama. Right. Trayvon Martin, right? Oscar Obrego, right?
The brother up in the Bronx.
I know who you're talking about.
The Asian killed him.
Who?
The Asian cop.
That brother, but the broder, what's his name?
Anthony.
No, the one they did the Netflix special, what's his name?
Calvin.
No. Khalid Brown, what's his name? Browder, right?
Okay.
All throughout the Obama era. Go ahead.
What was the name again of the Latino brother that was in the park? He was just drunk, and the officer came up on him and basically almost ran.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. It's a I.S.U.P.K brother. He wasn't bothering nobody, but the cop decided to put him to death anyway. I know who you're talking about, though. Go ahead.
And the 12-year-old little brother.
Yeah, Tamir Rice. Am I saying it right? Tamir Rice, right? So all this through the Obama era. You think for 1 second Michelle Obama, being black, being a daughter of Israel, should have said something?
Okay.
You think that she should have opened her mouth and be like, hell no, you president, you know, she should have gotten him for that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It was my people that helped you get in here. Because had it been them, you would not be seated up in here right now. She should have pressed him on that, but no. What did she do? She became more American, to put it in a nutshell. Why? Because she's the most Christian sister ever, among other most Christians in Israel. Meanwhile, the rest of us that live day-to-day trauma, day-to-day terrorism, day-to-day whatever, we got to put up with this nonsense every single day by the hands of the colonizer.
Right.
Okay? Lo que Michelle Obama no hizo fue estar encima de su marido Barack para su gente, ¿verdad? Porque nuestra gente fue que lo puso en la oficina, aunque el colonizador permitió que él entrara, pero si no hubiese sido por los votos de Israel, ese africano no estuviera en posición.
That's right.
Pero no dijo nada, se quedó callada, porque ella es la más cristiana que existe y es la más americana que existe. See, that's what happens, like in Jeremiah, why trimmest thy ways to seek love.
Right.
That's what happens. That's a good example that we should be teaching our kids. This is what happens when you love another nation.
Right.
This is what happens when you favor a people who benefit you nothing. But here in this story, what did Esther do? She did what? And this is in terms of Mordecai. What did Esther do?
She saved the nation.
That she didn't save the nation. The Lord did, but she was an instrument. Right? Was she not? Right? Just like who else? This school right here. Right? We set up to help the nation, but it's by the power of us. By the power, is it by the power of us or is it by the power of the Lord? The Lord, right? But now, concerning Mordecai, what did Esther do? Which all sisters should learn this goddamn lesson. Go ahead.
The honor of the person who brought her up.
Who else want to give it a shot?
To follow his orders.
Say that again.
To follow his orders.
Say that louder.
To follow his orders.
To follow his orders. And she obeyed the man who normally is her cousin, but he raised her up like it's his daughter. So in essence, right, she obeyed her father. 2022, how many daughters out there among blacks and Latinos obey anything your father say? Huh? Go ahead.
You can't even put a number.
You can't even put a goddamn number. Our daughters don't give a damn about dad. Why? Go ahead.
Like I was having this conversation with a brother in the world the other day, and we was talking about how disrespectful it is even that, you know, your daughter could come into the house and say she's pregnant, and you never even know who the man is.
No. ¿Verdad? 2021, 2022. ¿Y qué hija tenemos que obedecer a su padre como Esther obedeció a su, normalmente, técnicamente, era su primo Mardoqueo, pero como él la crió como su hija, pues en esencia es su hija. ¿Qué hija hoy en día le hace caso a su padre? ¿Morgan?
Bueno, ahora mismo las únicas hijas que le hacen caso a sus padres son las hijas que están en la escuela israelita de conocimiento práctico universal como su hija.
That obey their fathers is the daughters that is in the Israelite School University of Practical Knowledge. Right. That's a powerful statement. Ese dicho es tan poderoso. That's so powerful because that is 100% true. The daughters that are born in this truth obey their fathers. No back talking and this and that because they understand consequences. They grew up understanding that there's a man who is their father, who is their authority.
Right.
Why? Because it ain't magical. There's nothing magical about that. They learned that this man that I call dad, I better respect him because there's consequences for not obeying him. There's consequences that come with disrespecting my father and showing no honor to my father.
Right.
America does not care about fathers. Does not care about black and brown fathers. That's why we ain't in the house. We ain't part of the picture.
Right.
We ain't in no scenario in no type of black or brown household. The ones that are in the household are weak ass Christians.
Right.
Who give a pass to everything. Go ahead.
And that's why they're allowed in the house, because they're weak.
They weak. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Eventually they get kicked out because they weak anyway.
Right.
That's when they learn a good lesson. You know what I'm saying? Because why? That woman that they thought was a nice, sweet, tender morsel turned out to be Godzilla or King Kong doing a battle. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real. That's true. Nuestra hija hoy en día se comportan como monstruos, como King Kong y como Godzilla. Con esa boca. Do you remember that? You know, let me tell you something. I saw on TikTok today. A brother made a video when he went home for Valentine's to surprise his wife with a card. Man, you remember I was talking about it in camp? I think it was, right? And he went home with the flowers and the candy and mommy. While meanwhile, homeboy was giving it to her in his own bed. On Valentine's Day, he was putting it. He was putting pipe in his own in homeboy's wife in his own bed. And of course, you know, an argument. He showed her the way the house looked, the after effects of everything broken up. ¿Verdad? Vi un video hoy donde un hermano, ¿verdad? Llegó a su casa con las flores y chocolate y que sin tarjetita y mucho amor, cariño, porque es San Valentín, ¿verdad? Cuando llegó y fue al cuarto, había un hombre dándole plomo a la mujer, metiéndole tubo por un tubo y 7 llaves a la mujer. Pues obviamente enseñó lo que sucedió después. ¿Ok? That's why we should not follow America, because these things are real. You know what I'm saying?
Like
really Ajá.
Eso es lo que trae San Valentín.
Yeah,
San Valentín lo que trae es muerte.
Obviamente.
San Valentín lo que trae es eso que pasó este tipo. Eso es lo que trae San Valentín.
Obviamente. You know what I'm saying? He said that's what Valentine's brings, death and destruction,
Right.
which is obvious.
Right.
Like this ain't for us. Like we should have known by now. All that sweet lovey-dovey stuff didn't profit us nothing, because at the end of the day, she's gonna be sleeping with the next man in your bed.
Right.
You know how that feels? Every man know how that disrespect feel, right?
Right.
It's messed up, right? We all can agree that, right? So could you imagine how the Lord feels about us disrespecting him?
Right.
It's the same thing.
No, God.
It's like you coming home and seeing your wife who you love, but she thought so, and she getting some meat from some other dude. That's how the Lord feels for us not obeying him and serving Saint Valentine's God, Christmas gods, Easter bunny gods, etc., etc. Understand? Always remember that. You know what I'm saying? So Esther listened to Mordecai. Now, let's continue. Vamos a continuar, all right? Deja que lean en inglés y después, eso es correcto. Adriana, the sister Adriana, she says, I'm going to read in Spanish. San Valentín trae enfermedades. The sister Dominican, Adriana, she said, Valentine's brings sickness, brings diseases.
Right.
That's
right.
true. Right. That's true. All right? Vamos con, ya que lee en inglés, entonces tú vas a leer en español. Okay, continue.
This is Esther chapter 6, chapter 5, verse 5.
Uh-huh.
Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Right.
And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, what is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed.
That's so. She made her petition and request, and like he said, even to half of the kingdom it shall be performed, and he's gonna do it. Whatever you want, I'm gonna make it happen. To put it in American English. Right? Go ahead.
I have a question. This Edomite king, and Esther, I know she's a sister.
Right.
Did he take the force?
What's right? No. What tribe? What tribe? Nobody was following. ¿Qué tribu era este Magán? Oh, yeah. ¿Qué tribu era Esther? I gotta ask that. You know why? That show me if y'all paying attention. Tengo que preguntar eso para ver si están pendientes. Ahora watch this. Adriana, ¿qué tribu era Esther? O Dalia? I'm asking the sisters. It's in the, if you read it from yesterday, where did Commander General start?
So like it's a Levite.
No. Nobody got it. Nadie tiene la respuesta. Adriana, ¿qué tribu era Esther? ¿Qué tribu era Mardoqueo?
Mardoqueo.
Esther would be the same tribe.
Mardoqueo. So like it's a Benjamin.
There you go. Say it again.
Benjamin.
There you go.
Benjamin.
Why she's also Benjamin? But why?
Her father is Mordecai's brother.
Wrong. but the was there. Her father was Mordecai's uncle. No what I see pero who's this? Kawana Pawaryam. Okay. Kawana Pawaryam, tribe of Benjamin. Okay. That must be a system of people. All right. It's the tribe of Benjamin. And Mordecai's uncle. Remember, if we read from the top, it says that Mordecai raised his daughter's, his uncle's daughter as his own for them, right? So his uncle obviously is Benjamin, right? It's important because that helps you retain certain details, right? It might not be coming up a lot, but you want to know these things, right? You want to retain those things because it's relevant because of who's the I don't want to use the word protagonist, but the main character in this story, right? Who's the main character in this story? That's what I need. But Esther would be like a supporting role, right? That's what you want to. You can put it like that, but it's Mordecai because everything Esther doing is off of the orders of Mordecai, all right? So now, read that precept again. And read it a little bit quicker, so that way Magun can read it also quicker.
And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine, What is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed.
Go ahead.
Then answered Esther and said, My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them. And I will do tomorrow as the king have said.
Now that's strategic. If you think about it, that's strategic. Because what's happening is not only, okay, they're in the banquet, but she's making sure that Haman's guards are down. Right. Because she already know what the king will do anyway, right? But she's trying to get Haman to get his guard all the way down by putting his trust in her. Oh, it's a banquet, sure. Because he feels what at this moment? Because it's only the king and him. So what does Haman feel at this moment? Go ahead. Prideful, right? Because he thinks, oh, this is like a promotion, right? They're celebrating me. I'm with the king, and there's no one else but me. Go ahead.
And anybody who works with Elamites knows how much kiss ass they are.
The Elamites.
Love, praise, how much like I can't stand
but who's the Elam here?
The king, sir.
Right? But who we talking about here? The villain.
Haman, sir.
Right, which is
Esau.
Which what this particular tribe is called today? Because you know there are different tribes in Esau too, right? There's different tribes in Israel. Every nation got different tribes now.
Would he be Amalekite, right?
Amalekite, right? Which what they call Amalekites today.
Jewish,
right? So you see, there's history with these devils, right? There's history way back to the days of Moses. Haman go back to Agag, the king. I mean, what's his name? The Agagite king, King Saul, another Benjamite, right? Was supposed to do away with the whole Amalekites, but he didn't. And now the descendant, right? Haman is here in the Persian Empire. After the two chamberlains were put to death, he got the big time promotion. He like the second in command, right? At this given point, right? At the kingdom, then you got Haman, right? Now Haman feeling all puffed and proud. Oh man, it's just being the king, right? But she laying out the, like we say in Puerto Rico, haciéndole la camita, right? She's dressing up the bed for him. You know what I'm saying? She's dressing that bed for him. Right, but give me some more. Give me the next verse, and then I'll have Magun read in Spanish.
Verse 9. Then went Haman forth that day, joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up, nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai.
Okay, ahora Magun, léete desde el versículo 4 hasta el 9, rápido.
Karan Khan. Capítulo 5, versículo 4. Y Esther dijo, si place al rey, venga hoy el rey y Amán al banquete que he preparado para el rey. Versículo 5. Respondió el rey, daos prisa, llamad a Amán para hacer lo que Esther ha dicho. Vino pues el rey con Amán al banquete que Esther dispuso. Versículo 6. Y dijo el rey a Esther en el banquete, mientras bebían vino, ¿cuál es tu petición? Y te será otorgada. ¿Cuál es tu demanda? Aunque sea la mitad del reino, te será concedida. Versículo 7. Entonces respondió Esther y dijo, mi petición y mi demanda es esta. 8. Si he hallado gracia ante los ojos del rey, y si place al rey otorgar mi petición y conceder mi demanda, que venga el rey con Amán a otro banquete que les preparé, y mañana haré conforme a lo que el rey ha mandado. Versículo 9. Y salió Amán aquel día contento y alegre de corazón, pero cuando vio a Mardoqueo a la puerta del palacio del rey, que no se levantaba ni se movía de su lugar, se llenó de ira contra Mardoqueo.
Ok, so entonces ya vemos que aquí, pues ya sabemos, le hizo caso a Mardoqueo, ¿verdad? Pero también le hizo la camita, ¿verdad? A Amán, ¿verdad? Le hizo la camita porque quería que su guarda bajara, ¿verdad? Para que esté tranquilo, que si esto lo otro, ¿verdad? Entonces, cuando iba a salir a su casa, se encontró con Mardoqueo y obviamente lo miró con ira, ¿verdad? Y con furor, ¿verdad? So, what we're going to do right now is skip a few verses, right? To put it in perspective. So he ends up going home, right? Now he's pissed off because he's seen his brother in the street, right? So you imagine this devil saying, look at this nigga right here. Right. He don't stand up. He don't bow down. You know, so he's angered at all that, right? So let's just drop down for time's sake. Let's go down to verse 14. So he ends up at his house, and he tells his wife and what's his wife and the other I don't know if they were his servants, whatever, but he tells his wife what the plan that Esther's going to do. There's going to be a banquet for him, and the king, blah blah blah. So this is what she said in verse 14. Read verse 14.
Verse 14. Then said Zeresh, then said Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And then, and the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made.
Okay. So, after he tells his wife everything, right, blah, 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 you know, in his mind, because he said to his wife, well, you know, there's nobody else, it's just me and the king, so you know he's feeling all proudful. He thinking all this is because Haman's so great. That's what he thinking. Well, you know, got to be that damn good because only, you know, getting invited to this special banquet. It's me and the king. Right? So he's thinking like that. That's how all devils would think too. Go ahead.
And it's so proudful that he doesn't even realize that Esther is the people that he's trying to kill right now. Mm-hmm. He thinks that she's giving homage to him for his you know,
exactly. You know, that's the point. Go ahead.
That's true. Because
you want to speak up so that way.
So he knows that Esther is of those people, but he thinks Esther is a cool. And that's why these politicians are not afraid to make certain things and do certain movements, because they know certain black people are Christians and will never stand up. Because as long as, you know, you feed them, they'll let you do whatever you want. So they know that black people don't love black people. And he thought that Esther did not love her people.
I don't see that saying that there, but one could just imagine it could have been that. He's a devil. You know what I'm saying? But what I do see here is that he went home proud,
Right.
thinking that he's all puffed up in the head. You know what I'm saying? That's what I do see. But you know, that could have been the case also. Who knows? You know, or he could have just looked at, okay, this is the king's wife. He looked at probably at her in a certain way. You know,
Right.
just like how white people look at Oprah. They know she's black. You know,
Right.
but they still look at her in a certain way. She's a rich black woman. Because to them patriots, they have a distinction. A nigger is a hoodlum in the street, you know, a low life, right? And then black people, those are the educated black people. See the difference? Like, you know, they have an issue with them, but not all the way. But when it comes to you and I, they have all the issues against us. Right? You know what I'm saying? Mordecai was on this side, but he thinking Esther's on that side.
Right.
Right? Well, who raised their hand?
I did, sir. I have a question. Little Esther and the king, Elamite, was she forced to go marry him, or she?
Okay. We was in captivity, right? And this is how I explained to Magan yesterday. We was in captivity. This is a point about survival, right?
Okay.
This is what that was, you know.
Okay.
When you're in this captivity, and there's certain rules and regulations that was placed, right? Mordecai thought it best to let her do that, you know, because of the prophet Israel. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't see nowhere in here where she slept with him. I don't know.
Right.
You know?
That's why I was asking.
Yeah. I don't see she slept with him. I could imagine she might have been feeling some type of way that she has to be this heathen's wife. You know? Letra el 14, Magán, ¿verdad? Entonces, para recordarnos de ayer, ¿verdad? Entonces ya sabemos que vamos a su casa, ¿verdad? Bien echón, bien con la cabeza llena de aire, ¿verdad? Porque solamente el banquete del rey y para él, ¿verdad? Ni nadie más, ¿verdad? Entonces le dijo todo esto a su esposa y a su amigo, ¿verdad? Entonces, y ¿sabes? Diciéndole lo que él encontró con Mardoqueo, ¿verdad? Bla, 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 bla. Entonces la mujer sugirió lo que vamos a leer en versículo 14. Vamos.
Cáncer. Este capítulo 5, versículo 14. Y dijo Ceres, su mujer, a todos sus amigos, hagan una horca de 50 codos de altura y mañana di al rey que cuelguen a Mardoqueo en ella. Y entra alegre con el rey al banquete. Y agradó esto a los ojos de Amán e hizo preparar la horca.
Okay. So entonces vamos, let's go to 6 and 1 and 2 quickly. 6 from chapter 6 verse 1, because I'm going to jump a little bit here, but I want to put everything in perspective here, right? So now we know Haman hate Mordecai, right? He despised him. Because Haman wanted to be the morning star. What do I mean by that?
Seen is brighter than anybody else. He shines more.
Right. That's what you're gonna say.
Like modern day terms, like famous, you know, like a giant,
Hollywood, sparkle, right? ¿Qué significa cuando te dice en la escritura, Magán, que era la estrella de la mañana? Porque Magán, Amán, como todos los blanquitos, se siente como una estrella de la mañana.
La estrella de la mañana.
Yeah. Yo te voy a dar la respuesta por el tiempo para que no piense mucho, ¿verdad? Para que recuerdes de esto. Es cuando alguien quiere brillar más que todo el mundo, ¿ok? Y el hombre blanco es eso mismo. Él quiere hacerse el más famoso, el más brillante de todas las naciones en la planeta. Ese es el hombre blanco, ¿ok? So now, read 6 and 1. Estamos en capítulo 6, versículo 1, pero deja que él va a leer del capítulo 6, versículo 1 hasta el 4. Entonces tú vas, después de traer, leer 6, capítulo 1 hasta 4. So, let's go in English quickly.
Esther chapter 6, verse 1. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, 2 days of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said, what honor and dignity have been done to Mordecai for this? Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, there is nothing done for him. And the king said, who was in the court? Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him.
Ahora es rápido, Magandes, el capítulo 6, 1 al 4.
Capítulo 6, versículo 1. Aquella misma noche se le fue el sueño al rey y dijo que le trajesen el libro de las memorias y crónicas y que las leyeran en su presencia. Versículo 2. Entonces hallaron escrito que Mardoqueo había denunciado el complot de Bigtán y de Teres, 2 eunucos del rey, de la guardia de la puerta, que habían procurado poner mano en el rey Asureo. Versículo 3. Y dijo el rey, ¿qué honra o qué distinción se hizo a Mardoqueo por esto? Y respondieron los servidores del rey, sus oficiales, nada se ha hecho con él. Versículo 4. Entonces dijo el rey, ¿quién está en el patio? Y Amán había venido al patio exterior de la casa real para hablarle al rey para que hiciese colgar a Mardoqueo en la horca que él le tenía preparada. Mardoqueo en la horca. Eso es todo. Hasta el 4, ¿verdad?
Yeah, hasta el fin del 4. Ya terminaste. Okay. So now we see that the king never gave honor or gave anything dignified for the service of what Mordecai did in warning him by way of Esther what was going to happen to him by these 2 chamberlains. Right? They put the 2 chamberlains to death, and then that was that. So obviously we understand that he, just like any person, sometimes you wake up, can't sleep, blah blah blah. So he wanted to boast. He wanted to see what just to read, to have things to read until he got to that part about Mordecai, what he did, blah blah blah. And then, so when he asked about what honor was done to him, what nothing was done, who's in the court, right? Haman was there, right? But Haman already had intent to want to have Mordecai put to death. That was his mission for that day, right? So that way he could feel good about himself, right? Like if I don't have this guy in front of me, I don't have to worry about this guy in front of me. Then it won't be on my conscience because he's no longer there, right? Like hiding the prey. Go ahead.
That's the Lord right there. That's the Lord right there because he's trying to go to sleep. The Lord's Spirit won't let him sleep because he's saying there's something I have to do. There's something I'm missing, and to the point where the Lord's tormenting him so much that he got to call in and say, "Bring me the records. There's something I'm missing." Right? And it shows you the importance of records. Right? Like these records don't think the past matters. Right? Shows you the importance of records. It also shows that how the Lord deals with these heathens. Like he'll give them visions or make it to the point where they can't sleep. So brothers who are afraid of, for example, of losing their slavery, I've not been through it all this time, lose their slavery or possibly something happening where it might jam you up. If you put your faith in the Lord won't let that heathen sleep. If it comes to him getting what he wants.
Right, and another fold, right? That's one part. But the other thing was that the Lord wanted Haman. I hate to use the word, but he wanted to shit on Haman.
Right.
Because what we're about to read gets to that. Go ahead, Chapai.
Salaki, I definitely want to, I'm glad you said it because I was exactly what I was going to say first. But the other part of it was, it goes to show that being the man right under the king, Haman wasn't letting the king know anything that he was doing. He wasn't, informing the man above him of what his plans were, or he would have known off the break that the king had other plans for Mordecai, as well as he didn't pay attention to the fact, like I said before, that that's her people.
Haman went in with one intent, which was disrupted, because as Warren said, the Lord didn't let this heathen go to sleep, right? But like the Lord is about to make Haman's pride go to the floor with this. So now we're going to jump from 4, we're going to drop down to 6, right?
Verse 6.
It's like the Lord's going to diss Haman right here. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 6. So Haman came in, and the king said unto him, what shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor? Now Haman thought in his heart, to whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself? And Haman answered the king.
So that's important to understand. Like I said, he went home proud, right? With full of pride, puffed head and everything. Head full of air and all this other stuff. And then here he come thinking, well, who else but me he's gonna honor? Ain't nobody else. I'm the man. Right? Let's see how the Lord feel about that. Go ahead.
Okay. And Haman answered the king, for the man whom the king delighteth to honor, let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon.
And I'll show you something about Esau. You give him an opportunity, he's gonna take your kingdom away from you. Right? He right here asking the king to give him the royal garment and his royal crown.
Right.
To put in his mind, he wanted to wear that. So he thought it was going to be for him. So obviously, he asked for the best thing he could get. Your royal garment and your royal crown. Let that man, here's my thing. This is what I want to rock today. Keep going.
Okay. And the crown royal which is set upon his head.
There you go.
Verse 9. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes.
Right? So not only just the apparel and the crown, but his best horse. The horse that the king rides on. You want to sit down? Good. Okay. Continue.
Okay. That they may array the man with whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Right. So you could imagine this devil right here feeling all good about this, what's about to take place. Like, oh man, I can't wait till this happens, man. He's gonna do this for me. So let's get ready for this, right? In his mind, he's psyching himself up, right? His psyche, his what's the word I want? His spirit and everything felt like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that type of moment when you're gonna get that bonus. I can't wait. Oh man, wait, he was expecting this bonus. Go ahead.
It's like it's the anticipation.
That's the word. He was anticipating all of this. Okay. Let me hold up, pump and break just a little bit. My God, let the let me see, let del versículo 5 hasta el what verse did you stop at?
Verse 10.
From 6 to 10, right? Or from 5 to 10?
No.
You started with 5?
6.
Ok, versículo 6 hasta el 10, rápido.
Está el capítulo 6, versículo 6. Entonces entró pues Amán, y el rey dijo, ¿qué se hará al hombre cuya honra desea rey? Y dijo Amán en su corazón, ¿a quién deseará el rey honrar más que a mí? 7. Y respondió Amán.
Entonces ya tuve que este diablo en su mente, ya con mucho orgullo, con mucho aire en la cabeza, ¿verdad? Pensó que era para él, ¿verdad? Su espíritu, su ánimo, su anticipación es, wow, este es mi bono, right? Sigue leyendo.
7. Y respondió Amán al rey: para el varón cuya honra desea el rey. 8. Traigan el vestido real de que el rey se viste, y el caballo en que el rey cabalga, y la corona real que está puesta en su cabeza. 9. Y den el vestido y el caballo en mano de alguno de los príncipes más nobles del rey, y vistan a aquel varón cuya honra desea el rey, y llévenlo en el caballo por la plaza de la ciudad, y pregonen delante de él: así se hará al varón cuya honra desea el rey.
So, ya en su mente, como dije, ya está preparándose con la anticipación que esto iba a ser para eso. Ya, está echándoselo y todo eso, ¿verdad? So he puffed up, he anticipated all this glory and honor that he's about to experience, right? Being walked down the streets, everybody looking at him, and he's gonna be like, one of them pompous dudes on a horse. But here's the bomb. Read 10.
Verse 10. Then the king said to Haman, make haste and take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said.
So then the king said, make haste. Make haste means to hurry up, right? And take the apparel, take the clothing and the horse, as thou hast said, right? Keep going.
And do even so to Mordecai the Jew.
Look at that. Now you can imagine, his head was here, right? He's like, what? That nigga? His whole countenance fell to the ground with that. You can imagine the anger boiled over in his brain. You could imagine his spirit got shattered.
Right.
You can imagine anticipation went out the door. What he thought was a good thing turned out to be his miserable day. Hold the piece for a second. Keep going.
That sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
Damn. Everything that you was hoping to get, everything that you said out your mouth, give it to him. And he's like, you can imagine how white people, when they get angry, they make those grunting sounds like the cave people that they are. Keep going.
Verse 11. Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Okay, Magan, 10 y 11.
Entonces el rey dijo a Amán: date prisa, toma el vestido y el caballo, como tú has dicho, y hazlo así.
Imagínate, ¿verdad? El aire se le vació de la cabeza. Todo lo que esperó, toda esa anticipación, el sentimiento de, aquí viene mi bono, todo eso fue a la basura. Y su continencia terminó cayendo al piso, ¿verdad? Imagínate, él feliz, y después, ¿qué? Hasta el negro. Con ira y con furor, ¿verdad? Imagínate. Pero, sí, léete el 11.
Versículo 11. Y Amán
No, perdón. Continúa donde quedaste en el 10 primero.
Bien. Y hazlo así con el judío Mardoqueo, que se sienta a la puerta real. No omitas nada de todo lo que has dicho.
Todo lo que dijiste, hazlo para Mardoqueo. Ponle el vestimiento, ponle la corona, montalo en el caballo y dar un paseo por el pueblo. Sigue leyendo.
Y Amán tomó el vestido y el caballo y visitó a Mardoqueo y lo condujo a caballo por la plaza de la ciudad e hizo pregonar delante de él: así se hará al varón cuya honra desea el rey.
So if you can imagine that, right? He not only had to, he not only had to take him around the streets with the king's garment, with the king's apparel and the crown, and on top of the royal horse, but also go around saying, "Thus saith, what does it say? Thus shall it be done unto this man." What is the? Yeah, he said, proclaim before him. Thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delights to honor. Just taking him around, just saying the statement. The king wants to honor Mordecai the Jew, blah, 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 because of the things he did for him. You want to say something?
I'll counter that. To me, that's such a heavy thing. Because to me, it's like that king is nothing, right? But what's really happening here is he's doing just shall it be done to anybody who the king honors. The real king is the Lord.
Right.
And the real king is the Lord that's honoring Mordecai right here. Never mind that heathen king. Anybody who serves the Lord will be praised.
Right.
I mean, that's what's really happening. That's
right. And it shows you how fair the Lord is.
Right.
Because the man that did that should have been honored, should have been recognized.
Right.
His brother never got recognized
right.
until this day.
Right.
Right? That's what it should have been, but it didn't get done.
Right.
To this day. All right, go ahead, your father.
Yeah, two things I make. The fact that what you said earlier with Oprah, when they look at us, it's like this. When, you know, somebody like Oprah, they look at us as a black person.
Right.
Whereas he looked at Mordecai like a nigga, but his own niece, you know, he looked at like a black person. And second, just a minute ago, he wanted all the Jews dead. Now he has to parade one around the street and say he's honored by the king.
Right. And on top of that, it was more than just that. Not just he had to parade Mordecai around the block, but you know the Lord moved, right, like a ninja. And that's the move he doing on Mordecai. Not only is he belittling him, right, but there's something else that's about to happen to Haman. Now we're going to get to that part. We're going to go from there. And I want to jump down to 13. I want to jump down to 12. Okay. Ya leíste el 11, ¿verdad, Magana?
El 11, cansé, yo sé.
Ya lo leíste, okay. So entonces, let's go to 12.
Okay. Verse 12. And Mordecai came again to the king's gate, but Haman hasted it to his house mourning.
Doing what?
Hasted to his house mourning. And having his head covered.
So now, see, the Lord is magnificent and wonderful. He shamed the hell out this heathen.
Right.
Right? What did he say about Esau in Obadiah 1 and 10? Right? Shame shall cover thee. Right? This heathen, this devil, Haman, wanted all Israel to be put to death. Anybody see a nigger, kill him. Anybody see a spick, kill him. Anybody see a Tonto out there, kill him too. That's what they want. And this is America. You can compare a lot of stuff that happened in these empires to what is going on in our everyday life in America.
Right.
It's the same scenario, different time frame. Right? Okay. Same thing that happens with newer technology. Right? Now, Haman went home crying like a little girl, right, in shame, covering his head because he was not honored. He thought he was the man. Yeah, I'm Haman. Blah, 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 blah. Found out he had to walk the very same person that he hated so much and give him honor. And guess what? Who else? It sounds like a familiar story, don't it, Israel? Who else is going to be honored like that? Israel, when Christ comes. The heathen going to know on that day that it was a mistake that they did. Right. How can I prove that? in the scripture. I just paraphrase it.
Come.
Find me the scripture. That's what I want. Anybody remember?
It's like you use the one service said the kings and feathers of iron.
Okay, the one I'm thinking about is in the Apocrypha.
It's like strange salvation.
The crowns will be put upon the head.
So that's what Christ is going to do. I want the part about the heathen, what they say. Wisdom of Solomon. Yeah, nobody remember? I'm sorry. I want to say the second chapter. In Wisdom of Solomon. Let me find it.
They use Jeremiah chapter 19 or chapter 16 also.
Read it.
Jeremiah 16 verse 19. O Lord, my strength and my fortress, and my refuge in the day of affliction. The Gentiles shall come unto thee from the ends of the earth, and shall say, surely our fathers have inherited lies, vanity, and things wherein there is no profit.
No. The strangeness, where's it at? Kazakh strangeness of our salvation. What chapter is it? I know it's in Wisdom.
Strangeness of our salvation.
Yeah. It might be there in those precepts.
That is Wisdom Solomon
52. Where's it at? I don't know if I paraphrased it right, but it's a precept where the heathen gonna realize then and there that we the children of God, and that they realize then and there that they did wrong to us. We shall see when they shall be troubled with fear and salvation. And they repent and glorify whose spirit shall say themselves. Yeah. 5 and 3. Wisdom of Solomon, right? Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon, 5 and 1 to 3. Let's get it real quick. Read it.
Come, sir. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors. Verse 2. When they see it, they shall be troubled.
So then, right? In that day, when will be this? When Christ comes, right? It said, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him, right? It was talking about Esau, our oppressor, the colonizer, and all these other heathens who have afflicted us, right? Who gave us hell, who gave us torment, torture, right? Who stole our culture, our families, right? Who destroyed our homes and households, right? Separated us from our own parents. You understand? But in that day, we're going to stand in great boldness, right? Keep going.
Come. Verse 2. When they see it.
What's the it? When it says when they see it, what is the it?
Our salvation and feeling of Christ.
When they see, what is the it? What is the it?
The proof of who we are.
The it is when Christ comes with them 200 million black angels in them chariots. How you know that? Read it from the top.
Come, sir. The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face.
Chapter 2.
Come, verse 2.
5 and 2.
Come, sir. Verse 2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear.
Right, so imagine. There's going to be, like, you can imagine all the centuries since the Greeks, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, right, the English Empire, the Spanish Empire, the French Empire, the Germans, the American Empire, which is this empire now, right? All the things they have done to Israelites, all the troubles they made us go through, all the slavery, all the harsh treatment, all the incarceration, setting up churches, setting up Planned Parenthood throughout everywhere we live, right? Causing mayhem and destruction upon us. In that day, they said they're going to be troubled with terrible fear. You know what terrible fear is? Imagine you in the middle of the ocean and a great white shark is about to gobble you up, but you get to see it. And your heart is about to pop out your brain. Imagine you got a 45 pointed at your head and you don't want to die. And you pleading in your mind, please don't pull this trigger. Your heart is beating like 100 miles an hour. That's that fear that this devil's going to fear and then some. Keep going.
Come, sir. And shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation.
Well, once again, people don't realize, right? Christ is coming in the UFO. All right? What we call the chariots of the Lord.
Right.
All right? And then when the occupant, that first occupant coming off the chariot is going to be on a white horse and a black man sitting on it. That is Christ. And then the armies upon armies of black angels following him, going everywhere, conquering everything. Now, this is the white man's worst fear, right? Seeing black people take over the whole planet Earth. And then let alone see this, a chariot where they've had years, right, from Roswell this way, right, probably in the ancient times too, but there are ancient paintings of chariots, right? Right. But more so now because of the media, right, and all the X-Files and all the Independence Day movies, Aliens, and so on and so forth, right? Now, in their mind, it's like an invasion. It is, but it ain't. It's an invasion of black people coming to take over Earth from the hand of the oppressor. Go ahead.
That's why Donald Trump created Space Force.
Yeah, but you know that was in the works since the days of Reagan. I want to say maybe even before, but even Reagan even said it out of his own mouth. You know, the difference is being put to the side if we were being invaded by another, by how he said it, like we would be invaded by aliens or something, right?
Outside of the earth.
Force outside of the earth, right? But this day, this time, this event here is going to happen. There's no getting away from that.
Come.
Right? Keep going.
Come, sir. So far beyond all that they look for.
Now, somebody explain that little part there, avoid. So we see the scenario here, right? We got to go back into Esther, but I just wanted to give you our point here. We see that they see the strangeness, right? The salvation of Israel is strange to them, right? But why did it say so far beyond all that they look for? Why is that? What's another way of saying look for? What is another way of saying it in one word? What they were.
Could it be like if you said beyond the wildest dreams?
Yeah, but I'm saying one word.
Anticipate. Imagine.
I'll take that.
No, repeat it again.
I'm saying, like, even though this is quick, it is far beyond all that they look for. One word. Far beyond all that they look for. That can go with imagine. One word. What they were expecting. Right? Why did I use it like that? Because what does the word expect? Go ahead.
Expect meaning that what they thought was gonna happen.
Right, no, that's for sure. But what were they expecting? What type of scenario? Give me a scenario.
It's like they were expecting white sheets.
Right? And give me some more. You on it.
And they were expected to rule forever.
That's not what I was thinking. Because in their mind right now, they're expecting to rule forever.
Right.
But they were expecting white Jesus. Anybody want else give it a shot?
It's like, for us to stay underneath them forever.
They believe that right now. We're talking about future. Right? In the future, they're expecting white Jesus, right?
They were expecting to go to heaven.
Right. And they were expecting that everybody finally come together, right? Blah, blah, blah. Because that's the narrative of Christianity, right?
Right.
Christ coming back. It will be all at peace. There'll be no more wars. You know the narrative of church. That's what they were expecting. That's what beyond all they were looking for, right? What they were looking for was that, but instead got this. Got these big ass motherships in the sky. There's a main one, and out of that main one comes the main man, Christ. And then a swarm of black angels just falling on the earth. Boo, 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 boo. Shooting everywhere. Blah, 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 blowing up everything. Nuclear explosions everywhere. Before all that happens, of course, the ones that stand with the Lord is going to be put up in the chariot. They say for in an hour, but it really means a short time. And they'll be put down into the wilderness. Where? Who knows where? The Lord has decided. All right? Keep going.
Come, verse 3. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within
So
themselves.
could you imagine they think, oh my God. You know how white people get, oh my God. Screaming to the top of their lungs, oh my God. We did something. Oh, too late now. Too late now. We killed these niggas. We shouldn't have done it. We killed these Mexicans. You know, excuse my language. You know, we robbed the Puerto Ricans. Too late now. Right. Keep going.
Come.
Go ahead, William.
I was telling this Christian the other day, you know what I mean? Because he said to me, he doesn't see color, right? And I told him, when Christ come out of the sky, you're going to see color that day.
If I'd have punched you in your eye, what color you would see? Blackout, right? No, but yeah, you're right. When Christ comes in that day, you will see some color in that day. You're absolutely right. So keep going. Let's finish this verse. Jump back in. I'm gonna jump in Esther further down. I'm gonna read. My God, voy a leer todo esto lo que leímos en español cuando él termine. Keep going.
Come.
For anguish of spirit shall say within themselves. This was he.
Stop right there. This was he. Who's he? Who's he? It says this was he. I stopped him there. Who's he? Okay, top of verse. I'm gonna read for you quickly for time's sake. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he. So I want to know if you know who's he. So who's he? Thank you. Give him a hand. Ask him. Keep going.
Come. This was he whom we had sometime in division. What's that division?
Derision. What is derision? You don't know what to do. If you don't know, somebody get it. That's important. All right? You always hear constantly, either one of the captains or one of the generals say, you don't know something? Look it up. You go, how John Muhammad said, you go into your Google machine and look it up. It's right there. Go ahead.
Like derision, contemptuous, ridicule, or mockery.
Is there anything else? Is that the only definition?
Sorry, I got you.
Go ahead.
The use of ridicule, or scorn to show contempt. A state of being laughed at or ridiculed. A state of being derided.
So in other words, to put it in ghetto terms, they was always dissing us, belittling us, making fun of us, right? Right now, there are colonizers at the dinner table right now having black issues, using the nigger word all day long at the dinner table. Right? These niggers are no good. Look at them. They're gangsters. Look at these spicks as well. And look at these savages on the reservation. All they do all day is drink, get high, and commit suicide. They're good for nothing. I'm glad we killed the buffalo. Right? But here it's saying, this is he whom we had sometimes in derision. Keep going.
And a proverb of reproach.
Right? There's all kinds of different names. Big, wet, fat, cool, porch monkey. What's the other one? Soul train. Some of them call brothers Monday. Why? Because everybody hates Monday. You know? Yo, they be crafty with coming up with different types of programs. You ain't never heard that? Yeah, a white man decided to tell me that one day. You know, and he don't even know that I know the truth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he felt like, you know, we call black people Monday because everybody hates Mondays. You know? Damn. All right, which is messed up. Pero, anyway, I'm going to read it back in estamos en el Sabiduría de Salomón que se encuentra en la Apócrifa, ¿ok? El 3, what's chapter 5? Capítulo 5, versículo 1 nos dice, entonces el justo se amparará con gran denuedo delante de los que lo aflijaron y nos dieron cuenta de sus trabajos. Versículo 2. Cuando lo vean, se turbarán con un temor terrible y se asombrarán de la extrañez de su salvación. ¿Por qué? Porque lo que ellos esperaban era un Jesucristo blanco en nube, ¿verdad? Y que había más paz, no hay guerra, que si esto, lo otro, bla, bla, bla. Pero se van a encontrar con 2.000 millones de ovnis por todos lados. Y en el medio de ahí va a salir un caballo blanco. Y ese caballo blanco va a tener un jinete. Y ese jinete se llama Jesucristo, un negro montado en ese caballo. Y detrás de él va a seguir 2.000 millones de ángeles negros para conquistar la planeta en su totalidad. Y esa es la razón que se van a tumbar con un temor terrible y van a estar asombrados de la extrañeza de su salvación. Su salvación se refiere a Israel, mucho más allá de lo que esperaban. ¿Ok? 3. Y ellos arrepentidos y gimiendo, ellos refiriendo al hombre blanco y las demás naciones, arrepentidos y gimiendo por la angustia del espíritu. Porque ahí mismo se van a dar cuenta, van a estar en su pensamiento, en su conciencia, a rayo. ¿Qué cosa le hicimos a estos morenos, a estos latinos y a estos indios nativos? Les robamos su tierra, los separamos de su familia, le pusimos droga en su comunidad, en su vecindario, le pusimos armas de fuego por toda su comunidad, lo matamos, le hicimos todas las cosas corruptas imaginable. Ese día van a estar llenos de angustia en las naciones. ¿Ok? Específicamente el hombre blanco. Continuando. Dirán dentro de sí, refiriendo a Israel, era aquel que teníamos algunas veces en escarnio y proverbio de oprobio. En otras palabras, se burlan de nosotros y siempre se burlan de nosotros, y aparte de eso nos nombran nombres feos, ¿verdad? Como negro sucio, como puertorriqueño un puerco, que si un mexicano no sirve para nada, que si el himno nativo es un salvaje, etcétera, etcétera, etcétera. ¿Ok? So, ese tercer versículo es lo que yo quería mostrar. This third verse is what I wanted to show, because this is what Haman felt in that moment. Okay? Haman realized, oh snap. All right? So let's go back to it. Whoever was reading, let's go.
Esther.
Okay, we read down to Esther, right?
We had 13.
13, let's go.
Verse 13. And Haman told Zeresh, his wife, and all his friends everything that had befallen him.
Mm-hmm.
Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him, if Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him.
Stop right there. Showing what? That the heathens knew then. The heathens knew then. Voy a leer Magán esto rápido, ¿ok? Contó luego Amán a Seré su mujer y a todos sus amigos todo lo que le había acontecido. Entonces le dijeron y sus sabios y Seré su mujer, si de la descendencia de los judíos es ese Mardoqueo delante de quien has comenzado a caer, no lo vencerás, sino que caerás por cierto delante de él. Did you read 14? Go ahead.
Verse 14. And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains and hasted to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Right, so 14 nos dice, aún estaban ellos hablando con él cuando los eunucos del rey llegaron apresurados para llevar a Amán al banquete que Esther había preparado. Now let's go to the next chapter, right? Let's go, let me see what we're going to go to, right?
Quick question.
Where?
Haman's wise men, were they Edomites as well, or they were conceived?
I can't tell. I don't know. I just know what he is because I looked it up in the Zondervan. All right. We're going right now to 7. Right? I'm just looking for where should we start at. Okay, let's give it back to us. So now they have the second banquet, right? They have the second banquet. So now Haman's already perplexed in his brain, right? Troubled in his brain because based off of him having to parade Mordecai through the streets, but also when he goes to his woman and she even tells him, listen, you ain't going to win, right? This is the Mordecai's a Jew. You're not going to win. Because the heathen understood back then that when you did something to Israel, there was penalties to pay for. You know, there was consequences. Today, the peons of the colonizers don't know this. Right? The rich, they know who we are. The Vatican, they know who we are. Library of Congress, the upper echelon of the colonizers, they know who we are. All right? They looked at our records and they know so long as they keep us sinning against the Lord is always going to be against us. All right? But they never think in their mind, although we make the sin over and over, there's a price to pay for that. But that never crosses their mind. There's going to be this price to pay for that because one day, sooner or later, you know, we're going to have to pay for this. You know? So what I want to do is drop let's go to okay, let's go to verse 3. Vamos a 7 y 3. Let's go to verse 3.
Come. The Book of Esther,
Let's
chapter.
let's get another reader. Pawaryam.
Esther.
7 and 3.
Esther chapter 7, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
The son of Amariah, the son of Azariah, the son of
Salakia. You were chapter 7, verse 3?
Esther chapter 7, verse 3.
Go ahead.
Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, and if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request.
Right.
For we are sold, and I, my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to perish.
Uh-huh.
But if we had been sold for bondmen and bondwomen, I had held my tongue, although the enemy could not come to veil the king's damage.
Uh-huh.
Verse 5.
So now she held her tongue for a while, not letting the king know who's her people. But now she had to say something, right? She had to say something because now these letters went throughout all the provinces of the Persian Mede Empire to kill every Jew that they found, right? And there was a day appointed, right? So Esther making a petition, not just for her, but for Mordecai and for all of Israel. Something Michelle Obama never did.
Right.
And never heard, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Somebody tell me, somebody correct me. I don't remember ever hearing Michelle Obama standing up in front of TV and say, listen, I'm going to need y'all to stop killing my people. I'm still black. I'm first lady, but I'm still black. And you hurting them is like you hurting me. You know, make some type of petition. I didn't hear that. But Esther did. Esther did, you know. Keep going. Heck, anybody hear Oprah Winfrey mention anything?
No, sir.
What's her name? Wendy Williams.
No,
Nothing. What's Oprah's friend? Gail, what's her name?
Gail something.
Gail something, right? I never heard her say anything. You know? No sister said anything. No brother, no Brian Gumbo, nobody famous in the black community, you know? Nobody really stand up and put their wealth on the line. Nobody did nothing. Esther did. Esther did, okay? We need more sisters like that. We have sisters like that in the I.S.U.P.K. Keep going.
Verse 5. Then the king Ahasuerus answered and said unto Esther the queen, who is he and where is he that does presume in his heart to do so? And Esther said,
hold on. I love this part here. Verse 5.
It's like, see, that's the part I'm talking about. Like, the king doesn't even know that this order has been given.
Yes, he does. Because we read earlier, Haman went and gave him, talked to him about the people that doesn't follow the king's orders, and added a little extra, just like how white people would do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Lied a little bit. That's why Esther's bringing it up. Letters went out throughout all the promises. I don't know if you ever read that part.
Oh, God.
Right? Them letters were sealed with the king's ring. You read that part too?
Oh, God.
So therefore he knew. He didn't know who. Because Mordecai was, Haman didn't specifically say, oh yeah, the Jews. He just said there was a people. Anybody something to say? Right?
That's block.
Right.
That's what he had all those garrisons.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had a bunch of territories.
Yeah. That's why I say provinces. Right? Keep going. Magam, what's the meaning in inglés, okay? Tú entiendes inglés anyway, pero si quieres comentar en español, lo que sea, puede decir. Pero el tiempo ya no está pasando, okay? So anyway, so now, let's get to the good meaty part right here. I love this. Verse 6.
Verse 6. Esther chapter 7, verse 6. And Esther said, the adversary...
Now, it's like a drum roll here. The adversary... Go ahead.
an enemy is the wicked Haman.
Is this what?
This wicked Haman.
This wicked Haman. Right? This wicked Jewish man. Keep going. The so-called Jewish man. The so-called Jewish man in the past wanted to kill the real Jews in these days, in those days. Just like he do today. Just like he do today. Keep going. Go ahead.
Then Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Then Haman was afraid, like it's like a shocker. Like he knew, oh my, I can't even imagine. I was going to put a movie scene of being terrified, like you being chased by Jason Voorhees scared, you know what I'm saying? Or the train about to hit you scared. Terrified to that extent. By falling off the Empire State Building. And there's no falling out of a 30, I was just throwing a number up there. Falling from the height of 33,000 feet to the earth. I'm scared. Go ahead.
Don't fly this way. Like it's covered. Now you see that it's covered.
If he was white, he got whiter than that. Right? Spooky white. You know what I'm saying? Spooky white. Keep going, warrior.
And verse 6. And Haman was afraid before the king and the queen.
Keep going.
Verse 7. And the king, arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath, went to his place into the palace garden. And Haman stood up to make request of his life.
So you'd imagine this king in his brain trusted this guy. You understand? Like he was his top dog. He gave him the most powerful seat under him. And then find out about this. Of course, I'd be pissed too. Right. Like it feel like a betrayal. Like you have basically tricked me into killing the people that ain't done nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Or at least to him, at least to this king at this time. Right. We know well after that. Of course, all the Persians weren't nice. Artaxerxes and them. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is what I'm saying, but we do know the Persians. They weren't nice to us anyway. All right. Continue, Salaki.
And Haman stood up to make requests for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king.
Now he pleaded. Now he in a bubbly, watery mess, pleading with Esther. Please. I didn't mean to. What they always say. I didn't mean to. It was my mistake. I know. Crying and snot coming out everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Pleading, and Esther probably like pushing him away. Then get away from me, disgusting vermin. Keep going.
Verse 8. And the king returned out of the palace garden into the place of.
I love this scene right here. Cause not only you could Haman be right there with Esther, pleading with her to go talk to your husband, right? But here's the king coming out the room, out of this room, and to see this. Read that.
Oh God. The king returned out of the palace garden into the place of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed thereon Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in the house? As the word went out of the king's mouth, it covered him his head.
So you can imagine when it said, will he force the queen? It means what? You're gonna rape the queen also? Right in front of me? Then he called out, and they came, put a bag over his head, and took him out. Keep going.
That was good.
Now you know Haman's arrested with a bag over the head. He probably already had pooped himself. I don't know, but I could just imagine. You terrified. You probably farted and pooped and pissed on yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like my seconds is counting. I'm soon going to be put to death and then you can imagine also that he probably, I know there's not scripture, but just off of psyche alone, because if anyone found ourselves in this same position, you also would think, and I'm effed up big time. I should have kept my mouth shut. I should have just let it go, but it's too late. It's too late. You wanted to hurt Israel, it's too late now.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 9. And Harbana, one of the chamberlains, said to the king, Behold, also, the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. And the king said, Hang him thereon.
Oh, hey, that's powerful. You intended to kill this brother, and you died by the same instrument you had built to murder this brother. You know what I'm saying? Payback is a what? Yaj. Go ahead. Quick. If it does go, then we keep
The
it.
book of Exodus, chapter 9, verse 16. And in very deed, for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show you in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Like he raised Haman up and brought him down in the same.
What chapter you was in?
Exodus chapter 9, verse 16 is also in Moses.
Right. Okay. I mean, slightly, yes, I would put it together, but you would have to explain it better. All right. But that's more particulars to a whole nation. All right. Like right now, it was the Lord that raised America up. Let the white man get as powerful as he can be, extremely powerful. Just like how Haman got extremely powerful, only to fall flat. Right? Haman wanted to kill, had Mordecai killed. He wanted even to convince the king, let's kill this nigga. Listen, I have this right here. We can hang him, and the story done deal. And now you come into that same day and find yourself in a terrible predicament, to the which instead of the Mordecai getting put to death, you got put to death. That's the Lord right there. The Lord is magnificent. Okay. The Lord knows how to make things play out the way He wants it to play out. A parallel to today, that Russia thing. Okay. That Russia, Russia, right? I.S.U.P.K has been saying for the longest, right? Because it's in Scripture that World War III is going to happen because in the Bible said so. We've always told you the scriptures of the breakdown of America and Russia in the book of Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, right? But now you turn on the TV, right, and see what's playing out right now. Now they're trying to find a way, figure out a way for it to don't go down. But I heard today that China's itching to invade Taiwan. But I heard that first from Commander General Han. Okay. All right, go ahead.
I'd like to say, if I could, right quick. I just seen today a live press conference with Joe Biden. He said if Russia make one move on Ukraine, they're going to meet them with force. And if Russia even do as anything as a cyber attack against the U.S. or anybody else, the allies, they're going to meet them with force.
Please let it happen, man. Let it happen. Every day you wake up in this kingdom, and you have to deal with those folks. It's miserable. It's miserable. Yeah, man. Every time I have to get up in the morning, I hate the fact I gotta play nice, smile. Of course, you gotta do what you gotta do, right? Right. So long you know what's up. All right. Let's see where we are. Okay. If I go over just a little bit, right? So jumping down, right? So I'm going to the next. What do we miss in verse 14?
We stopped at king said, hang him, then they actually said,
14 or 10?
Oh, Salah, 10. Salah.
We haven't read 10 yet.
Right. So it says this. I'm just doing it for time. So they hang Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai. Then the king's wrath was pacified. Okay. Verse 10. Let me see where we jumped down. So go to verse 3, right? Eight.
Esther chapter 8, verse 3. And Esther spake yet again before the king, and fell down at his feet, and besought him with tears to put away the mischief of Haman the Agagite, and his device that he had devised against the Jews.
So later on you can go read this, but Haman had the king's ring still, took it off of payment and gave it to Mordecai. Okay? Keep going.
Okay. Verse 4. Then the king held out the golden scepter towards Esther. So Esther arose and stood before the king and said, if it please the king, and if I have found favor in his sight, and the king seemed right before the thing seemed right before the king, and I be pleasing in his eyes, then it be written in the reverse, the letters devised by Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, which he wrote to destroy the Jews, which are in all the king's provinces.
Right. So the reason why it says Agagite, right? Agagite, because King Agag was the king of the Amalekites, right? Who Saul was supposed to put to death. Right. So obviously Haman was a descendant of them, of him, right? So at this point, pleading with the king, the letter that Haman had written to be sent out throughout the provinces, let it be reversed, right? Because what the letters basically said was to the other heathens throughout all the regions, all the provinces, you see a Jew, kill him. So now if it's reversed would be what? That the Jews killed those heathens.
Right.
Right? Go ahead.
That's what they're saying?
Yeah, it said reverse. That'd be reversed. You're going to know, because if you read further down, if you read, I'm trying to jump down for a little quick, right? As it said, I have given Esther the house of Haman. Right, so I'm going to read for time, so just for quickness, right? Then the king Ahasuerus said unto Esther the queen, and to Mordecai the Jew, behold, I have given Esther the house of Haman, and him they have hanged upon the gallows, because he laid his hands upon the Jews. Verse 8 was that. Verse 8. Write ye also for the Jews as it liketh you in the king's name, and seal it with the king's ring. For the writing which is written in the king's name and sealed with the king's ring may no man reverse. Then where the king's scribes called, then were the king's scribes called at the time in the 3rd month, that is the month Sivan, on the 23rd day thereof, and it was written according to all that Mordecai commanded unto the Jews and to the lieutenants and to the deputies and rulers of provinces which are from India unto Ethiopia. So you can imagine that's how large it was. So you go from India, Iran, all the way to Ethiopia, right? And 127 provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, and unto every people after their language, and to the Jews according to their writing and according to their language. And he wrote in the king's Ahasuerus' name, and sealed it with the king's ring, and set letters by post on horseback, and riders on mules and camels and young dromedaries. All right. Wherein the king granted the Jews which were in every city to gather themselves together and to stand for their life, and to do what? To destroy to slay and to cause to perish all the power of the people, and promise that would assault them, both little ones and women, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. Right? So as we go down, right? Let me see where we're going down. Because there's one part where the heathens was calling themselves Jews. You okay? You okay? You need to go splash. All right? I know it's been a long day. I got you. All right? Let me see if I can get there. Listen, give me a second. I might have to jump. I'm just looking for this portion where the heathens was now calling themselves Jews, so that way they won't be put to death. I think it might be in verse 9. Now in the 12th month, that is the month Adar, on the 13th day of the same month, when the king's commandment and his decree drew near to be put in execution, is the day that the enemies of the Jews hoped to have power over them, though it was turned to the contrary, that the Jews had rule over them that hated them. The Jews gathered themselves together in the cities throughout, and all the promises of the king Ahasuerus to lay hand on such as sought their hurt, and no man could withstand them, for the fear of them fell upon all people. And all the rulers of the provinces, and all the lieutenants and the deputies and the officers of the king helped the Jews, because the fear of Mordecai fell upon them. For Mordecai was great in the king's house, and his fame went throughout all the provinces. For this man Mordecai waxed greater and greater. Thus the Jews smote all their enemies with the stroke of the sword, and slaughter and destruction, and did what they would unto those that hated them. Right? And then it gives you from 6 on down to about the 9th verse, all the places. And all, all these names right there of people that got killed by these Israelites, right? And in verse 10 it says, and the 10 sons of Haman, the son of Hammedatha, of the enemy of the Jews, slew they, but on the spoil they laid not their hand. Okay, so now, not only did Haman die, but his 10 sons as well. Alright? It's like wiping a whole generation right there out. 11 says, and on that day, the number of those that were slain in Shushan in the palace was brought before the king. And the king said unto Esther, the queen, the Jews have slain and destroyed 500 men in Shushan the palace, and the 10 sons of Haman. What have they done? What have they done in the rest of the king's provinces? Now what is thy petition, and it shall be granted thee? Or what is thy request further, and it shall be done? Then said Esther, if it please the king, that it be granted to the Jews which are in Shushan to do tomorrow according to this day's decree, and let the Haman's 10 sons be hanged upon the gallows. And the king commanded it so to be done. And the decree was given at Shushan, and they hanged Haman's 10 sons. For the Jews that were in Shushan gathered themselves together on the 14th, right? 14th day, also the month Adar, and slew 300 men at Shushan. But on the prey they laid not their hand, right? Meaning the spoils. But the other Jews that were in the king's provinces gathered themselves together and stood for their lives, and had rest from their enemies, and slew of their foes 75,000. But they laid not on their prey. On the 13th day of Adar, and the 14th day of the same month, they rested and made it a day of feasting and gladness. So that's what we do today, right?
Right. Okay.
In memory of this. So this is what Purim is a memorial, right? It's not it is a high holy day, but not like Passover or the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of First Fruits. right? It's not like the Feast of Tabernacles or even the memorial blowing the trumpets. Because all those you have to have a service. Hanukkah and Purim, those are memorials because we remember what took place in Greece and also right here in the Persian Empire. Okay? Go ahead. You respond to
So, safe to say that we are celebrating the death of our enemies in Purim as well.
we remembering that event, yes. We remembering how the Lord gave us power to do these things to our enemy. All right? Which will come again when Christ comes. We'll have that power to do that to our enemies, okay? And I will show you that in the Apocrypha, okay? And also, you can also read Isaiah 14, 1 and 2. But let me continue. I'm trying to get to a point here, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. Okay. I'll take any questions after this. All right, let me continue. And this is right. And 19 says, therefore the Jews of the villages that dwell in the unwalled towns made the 14th day of Adar a day of gladness and feasting and a good day, sending portions one to another. And Mordecai wrote these things and sent letters unto all the Jews that were in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus, both nigh and far, to establish this among them that they should keep the 14th day of the month and the 15th day of the same year. As the days wherein the Jews rested from their enemies, and the month which was turned unto them from sorrow to joy, and from mourning into a good day, that they should make them days of feasting and joy, and of sending portions one to another, and gifts to the poor. Okay? So what I'm looking for is more than likely probably in the Apocrypha, the continuation to Esther. But I'm gonna jump down. I'm going to 20. Okay, I'm gonna drop down to 26. Okay, y'all can read it in between from the last verse to this one on your own time, but I'm just jumping to time table. Wherefore they call these days Purim, after the name Pur. How do you say Purim in Hebrew? Pur in Hebrew is for war. So Purim is what? Say that again? A warrior. Because Purim is plural. Pur is singular. And what does that mean? For war means what? There's something Levi should know. You ever heard the term to cast lots? That's what for warrior means, to cast lots. Right? For war is lot, for warrior is lots. Go ahead.
It's like take a chance.
Right. Or like to gamble. Right? Yeah. Right. Therefore, all the words of this letter and of that which they had seen concerning this matter, and which had come unto them. Okay, so now let's do something. Right. Te pregunta, Magal.
¿Qué significa la palabra crónica?
Crónica es cuando uno escribe las ocurrencias del día o del momento o del tiempo. En otra palabra, crónica se puede decir escribiendo la historia de lo que sucedió o la noticia del momento. Por ejemplo, tú puedes tener una crónica de familia y escribir todo lo que tu familia hace, etcétera, etcétera, ¿verdad? Crónica, en otra palabra, es grabando todo, ¿verdad? Hoy en día tú puedes grabar por medio de escribir o por medio del video. ¿Ok?
Tu water.
he was asking what the word chronicle means, right? I was saying chronicle is like when you record events, times, moments, right? If you had even in your own family, you want to chronologize your events, right? So that way the late generations can read, okay, what did your pop do with the year, blah, 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 what was he doing, blah, blah. Your generations afterward, though, right? That's why we had the book of Chronicles, right? Go ahead.
They still use that term today.
Right, to chronologize.
Order.
Right. Say that again?
They use the term chronological order.
Right, chronological order, right. Or even like news magazines would use that term as well, you know. Let's see. Right. So anyway, I want to leave it there, right? Right. And I believe that the continuation of Esther, right? Y'all can go ahead and read it, right? But in there, I believe they give you a whole breakdown to the part where when they went out to kill the heathens, who intended to kill them. But it tells you in the Apocrypha, if I'm not mistaken, in the continuation of Esther, how they was putting up signs saying that they are Jews, right? Just like when something similar like that happened in America. There's two big events in my lifetime that I remember. No. Two events. Okay. In Persia, the heathens were putting up signs that they claiming that they were Jews, even though they're not. And they did it to survive. So that way Israelites won't destroy them. Right? In America, and I remember two. I want to see if y'all can give me two instances of when heathens were claiming to be us. So that way we won't destroy them.
Just recently, like last month.
That's one of them. Now there's one before that. And we old enough to remember that. Remember? We old enough to remember. If we think 20-something years ago. It was claiming to be us for fear we would destroy them or their property. Come on. Go ahead. That's what I wanted. Right. Y'all remember the LA riots?
The Asians.
No, everybody. The island, yeah. Y'all don't remember that? The LA riots?
I remember that.
I remember hearing those accounts when they were saying black owned business, black, everywhere, all the heathens. Because they were fearing that Israelites would come in and loot or destroy their businesses. Just like how they did with the Black Lives Movement with Freddie Gray. All of them were putting up the signs. When I read this, I was like, wow. This ain't the first time that something like that has happened, where they fear for their lives and their belongings. But when Christ comes, that ain't gonna matter. We're gonna destroy it anyway. Right. I wanted to give you one of the apostles in the Revelations, and we wrap it up, right? This is what I want y'all to get. Listen up. Right? You need to start typing into the search. No questions online. There's a question online? No. One question? How many people are in there? It's like 7 people. All right, anybody online got a question concerning the topic? Y'all could ask. That includes Puerto Rico, all right? What I want is, let's go to Revelation 18. Let me start at. I'm gonna tell you what I want to start. Real quick, somebody started 18 and 1.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 1. Right. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, it's fallen, and it's because the habitation of devil, right? So it has become the habitation of devil, right?
So this angel, this vision that John the Revelator saw, right? He saw this angel come down and with a loud voice saying, Babylon the Great has fallen. We all know what Babylon the Great is, right? What's it called for everybody else that don't know? The Christians. America, right? The whole empire, right? The Great, right? Keep going. It's fallen. When this event will take place?
Christ returns.
Say that louder.
When Christ returns.
When Christ returns. When Christ returns. Keep going.
And the hold of every.
So the part where it says is become the habitation of devil.
And it's become the habitation of devil.
Meaning what?
Meaning every foul thing.
No, that's no. The habitation of the devil. What's a habitation?
Area.
It's where devils live.
Right. It's where devils live. What's the population of black people here?
12%.
What's the population of white people? Yeah, over 80 something, right? It's become the habitation of devils, full of devils, everywhere, right? Keep going. And the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Because that's America. America, you can be whatever the hell you want. That's what part of his doctrine, right? If you want to be a homosexual, you can be that, right? If you want to be a psycho killer, you can be that too. Right? If you want to be a pedophile, you can be that. If you're a man and want to be a woman, just like how Bruce Jenner changed to Caitlyn Jenner, you can do that too. If you're a woman and you think you're more masculine than a man, you can do that too. You understand? Okay. Only in America, like Don King used to say. You know what I'm saying? Keep going.
Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Right? So what it means by drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication? You might not get it, but I'm going to give you a shot.
Basically, all nations have come under her rule, and they're basically doing everything that she allowed them to do.
Go ahead.
They have all partaken in sin in her partaken.
Okay. What you got?
They've all taken part in the spoiling of God's chosen people, sir.
Keep going.
And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth.
Y'all know what that means, right? You all have done trade with America. Right? The kings of the earth have all partaken of fornication, right? And the merchants, what?
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
Right. Once again, they're talking about trade, right? Every nation come here to make their dollar, take it back home. We see that as you walk to every business, right? How many of them are owned by Israelites?
0.
Damn near, right?
Damn near.
Damn near 0, right? But who else has all the businesses? Who has all the Latino supermarkets? Is it Latinos? No, Latinos don't own a goddamn, maybe 1 in every 10 that compare supermarket and see Papina that's owned by Simeon. Probably didn't know that. I thought it was Korean owned. But Simeon owns those supermarkets. Right? But that's rare. Okay? But every other Latino supermarket, even the smaller Latino supermarkets, from what I see over here, at least in this part of the country, is Koreans. If I go to New York, the bodegas, which was owned by Puerto Ricans and Dominicans at one time, is now owned by I.S.U.P.K or Christian or something like that. You know, either East Indian, either Elam or Ishmael, one of the two, right? Chinese restaurants all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is enjoying America. The only one that isn't enjoying America, and we shouldn't enjoy America, is the Israelites. Point blank thing. We should not enjoy America. I'm gonna tell you for real. We should not enjoy America. Yes, we need to live day by day, right? Day by day, because we're here in America, it's our captivity. But we should not love America, right? We should not have any hopes for America. We should not want to partake in American politics. We should not want to seek the American dream, because it was not set up for us. America was set up as a place of captivity, and that's that. Point blank, plain and simple. You Christians keep pushing the prosperity, but the Lord said here, Babylon is falling. I don't know why you're trying to build up wealth in this kingdom when you're going to lose it all anyway when Christ comes. All right? Now keep going.
Come. Verse 3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of her.
No, you're in verse 4.
Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
That's what we should do, right? It's kind of like my preface, right? That's the word. This what we just read, right? Come out of her, my people. Like the Lord clearly telling us, not be a part of this place.
Right.
You here, you got a slave, go slave. Go make your money, bring your tithes into the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
Stop giving it to T.D. Jason Creflo dollars. Stop giving it to Cash Luna. Stop giving it to all these fake prophets and preachers and pimps on the pulpit. Because none of them are doing absolutely nothing. Zero for black people. How many black and Latinos, Israelites out there in the street homeless while they keep erecting mega churches? Now, instead of taking those buildings and converting them into a place for black and Latinos to stay and keep them safe, you know, they don't do that. They worry about the bills.
Right. The
hell with the bills. Did Christ worry about bills? Christ's mission was more important than bills. Did Paul worried about bills? Did Matthew? Did Thomas? Did Peter worry about bills? No, their mission was more important. Commander General Hunt don't worry about bills because the mission is more important. Yeah, you gotta make money. Yeah, you gotta pay bills, no doubt. But that should not be your priority. Keeping stacking up tall money, that should not be your priority. If you do stack up tall money, send donations into the I.S.U.P.K. Watch Commander General Hunt do what he do for black people, as he been doing since he been in the school. All right, that's what you should be doing if you're a wealthy Israelite. But don't be a part of this country. Come out of her, my people. Keep going.
Come. That ye be not partakers of her sins.
Go ahead.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
Right, so now the Lord sent COVID-19, right? Sent different variants of COVID-19. About to send some more, right? More deadlier than this one, right? I remember hearing in the radio show, Commander General Hunt prophesied, saying that the Lord about to send a disease onto East Coast. Ain't nobody want to be around him. And I see that coming because these Edomites are so damn proud. They don't want to wear masks. They don't give a damn about the vaccines and this and that because they think it's all conspiracy. And they're real puffed up in their head. You know what I'm saying? Just like Haven, just like every devil, puffed up in their head, you can't tell them nothing. Well, the Lord will make sure, okay, we'll make sure you stay away from everybody. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, bringing the World War III on top of that. Right? And bringing race wars, because that is coming.
Right.
Like our people in the world don't realize if you don't open up the door, there's gonna be lots of shooting. White man killing black people retaliating, shooting here, shooting there. That's gonna be the norm in America. While World War III is happening. Go ahead.
I was saying Roger earlier, there's an increase in break-ins. A lot of women are being out of home by men, and they're breaking in, killing them in the apartment. So all of that is just signs that it's getting more aggressive.
I wonder who's committing those things. Like at this point in time, the faces that America's used to seeing, black faces, white America knows this. Right? White America knows this. America, when it comes to crime, it's either a black or brown face that they use. When it comes to crime on the news, it's hardly ever them. Most of the times, because we always make the news, it's us, right? But who knows? Because Hollywood is real good at making prosthetics. They can easily put on a black face, a rubber vinyl black face that looks so damn realistic, commit a crime, and they be looking for some black man when it was a white man. That's possible because you have to think that we're dealing with a devil right here. Right? Go ahead.
So like I said, what you just said, they actually did it. Like a couple white guys, they robbed a couple of banks. Yeah, they had the mask. But one of the devil's wife told them.
Weird on it, right? See? Keep going.
Okay. For her sins have reached unto heaven.
And now you know it's that bad here in this empire that her sins reached unto the Lord. It's that bad. Keep going.
Okay. And God has remembered her iniquities.
God ain't forget. God ain't forget everything that they did. Every last bit of thing that Esau did towards his people. And if we took partakers of those sins, he ain't forget that either.
Right.
We're gonna get it too. We've gotten it right for the last 405 years.
Right.
And in the midst of all that, if we send them some more, we're gonna get it again. And we'll keep getting it. Keep going.
Okay. Reward her even as she rewarded you.
Because this empire has rewarded us with what?
Construction, sir.
All right, but give me some details.
Slavery.
What else?
Drugs.
What else?
Murder.
What else?
Child molestation. Heresy.
What else?
Abortion.
Abortions.
Taking away our culture.
Right. And all of that. So now, they enslaved us. They incarcerated us, right? They put drugs in our neighborhoods. They done put weapons in our neighborhoods, right? They're gonna try to find different ways to kill us all, right? And if they didn't kill us off, they try to find ways to make money off of us for free. To this day, you done heard the case about what was it in Georgia, where some farmers was going to Latin America and bringing Latinos over here from Mexico, Central America, and then making them work as slaves in Georgia. Y'all heard that news?
I heard this story.
All right. Still to this day, on their farm. The Lord remember all that.
Right.
Keep going.
Okay.
So he says, reward her even as she rewarded you. Keep going.
And double unto her, double according to her works, in the cup which she had filled, in the cup which she had filled to her double.
Right, so, which is all the destruction, all the terror, all the terrorizing, right? All the genocide, right? All that they did to us, they're gonna get it back double, right? Without the rape, of course. We're not like that. I'm saying, right. We ain't gonna do that. I know certain other people might think, oh yeah, we can do that too. Nah, that ain't happening. But they will get their heads kicked. They will get some boots on their neck. They will get punched. They will be killed when Christ comes. That's coming. There's no way getting around that. What you did to blacks and Latinos and Native American Indians, it's going to be to you double. So imagine if we count even from the Greek Empire this way, all the years of us being in captivity. Now, double is not exact. It just only means a long time. A very extensive, long time. And in the scriptures, it tells you what's going to happen to our main enemy, which is the colonizer. He's going to be wiped off the face of the earth. Something that they try to do to Israel. Right? Everybody understand? With that, speed it up. I'm waiting on it.
I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We at the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to marry. Stop. Get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. You can find this in the book of Numbers, chapter 18, verse 21. In the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means 10th of Hebrew, and it's pronounced I.S.U.P.K. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering from priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation, the Passover, April 15th.
And the first day of the first day of Feast of Unleavened Bread, which is the next one.
Purim, the Passover.
You can look at the calendar. Look at the calendar.
The Passover, 14th day of the first month, Friday, April 15th, and Saturday, April the 16th, 2022.
But that's you gotta tell them what's April 16th, right? The Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? The opening and the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
And the Feast of Unleavened Bread is Saturday, April the 16th, 2022. Come. Remind Akim and Aquatim, check on social media such as I.S.U.P.K.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for I.S.U.P.K events and materials. If a brother wants to be a troop in the school, you should start wearing all black, which includes black boots, black shirts, black pants, black headband or scarf. And with that, I say I.S.U.P.K, which means to stay. I'll give a courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, I.S.U.P.K, I.S.U.P.K, Barak, Yahweh, Yahweh Matah, class dismissed.
God.
Slack, sir.
Estudio mañana, ¿ok?
Perdón?
Mañana, estudio mañana, clase.
Can, sir. Yes, sir. All good.
All right.
All right, shalom.
Hablamos mañana también.
Yeah, shalom.
Shalom, Yahweh Hashem Barakatah.
Shalom, Yahweh Hashem Barakatah.
A la hermana también.
Yahweh Shema Ataba Hashem Barakatah. Shalom.